Hey there everyone, Doug here with B&H taking a look today at two new ENG cameras from Panasonic. We've got here the HC-X2 and the HC-X20, both bringing 4K 60p recording from a 1-inch sensor into a professional camcorder body. Coupled with a gorgeous new 20x zoom lens, there's an emphasis on streaming here that makes the X2 and X20 powerful remote ENG cameras, able to stream wirelessly to most platforms. The X2 takes the Pro feature set a little further with SDI, timecode, and Ethernet support, so for today, we're going to primarily look at the HC-X2. In true ENG fashion, the HC-X2 has got pretty much every pro-level feature you'd expect at your fingertips. Starting with the 1-inch CMOS sensor, the X2 now has a full 4K readout at 60 FPS, which in itself is a notable upgrade from the cropped 4K image on the X1. The star of the show here is the newly developed zoom lens with a 35mm equivalent 24.5mm wide-angle lens that provides a 20x optical zoom. That's a mouthful, I know, but check out the range on this thing. The X2 also boasts big autofocus improvements here with face detection support that is excellent for event coverage. Panasonic themselves claims it's the fastest AF in a camcorder style body, but of course, at this level, you can also get professional level manual control with 3 manual lens rings. It also wouldn't be professional without critical connections like 2 XLR inputs, a 4-position ND filter, 5-axis hybrid stabilization, and 16-axis color correction for broadcast-style camera shading. And only on the X2 are you going to get 3G SDI output, timecode input, an Ethernet port, and proxy recording. Now, both cameras have a big focus here on streaming as well, though the X2 has the advantage of a hardwired Ethernet connection, whereas the X20 only has Wi-Fi. HDMI 2.0 is on both cameras, giving full 4K output, and on the X2, you can use 3G SDI as well for 1080p output over a more professional connection. The main draw on both, though, are the live streaming capabilities themselves, with support for RTMP and RTSP streaming protocols. You can stream to pretty much any destination that supports those custom formats. So let's check out some of the video features on board here. Again, we're looking at the HC-X2, which has Vlog and HLG recording, but otherwise you're getting the same resolution and frame rate options across both cameras. Now in 4K 30 FPS, you get full 422 10-bit capture, which should keep you well within broadcast spec. But if you have the flexibility in your deliverable, 4K 60 gets you 420 10-bit. Of course, if you drop to 1080p 60, you get 422 10-bit as well. The zoom lens is phenomenal. At an equivalent 24.5mm wide angle, there isn't much you can't fit into the frame here. The 20x zoom gives you plenty of reach, which is great for live events where you'll need some distance from the subject. Think concerts, discussion panels, sports, and so many other cases. By the way, the 5-axis hybrid stabilization really helps here, as you can zoom into the far reaches of the lens and still keep a pretty steady image. You can also use the intelligent zoom mode to digitally zoom into the sensor for a total 24x reach. The most important thing when shooting outside, and also one of the features you should be on the lookout for on a camcorder body, is the built-in ND filter. On the HC-X2, you're looking at a 4-position ND filter, giving you ample light reduction when shooting in bright, sunny conditions. And keeping the ND filter engaged means you can keep your iris open more and prevents overexposure. Speaking of exposure, only on the HC-X2 are you going to find Panasonic's Vlog and HLG recording options, both available in 10-bit. HLG, or hybrid log gamma, is a middle ground approach to HDR recording straight out of the camera that works on both HDR and SDR displays. Speaking personally, I like to actually use it as an easy way to get a wider dynamic range for SDR capture only. Vlog, on the other hand, is derived from Panasonic's Varicam line and promises the full dynamic range of the HC-X2 sensor, while also giving you the most flexibility in color grading your footage. For documentaries, for example, the 1-inch sensor here combined with Vlog could give you that spontaneous mobility in shooting, along with the color and depth you'd want in something more cinematic. So we've glanced at the HC-X2 a little bit already, but taking a closer look, there's a lot packed into the camcorder form factor here. The flip-out LCD is 3.5 inches diagonally with 2.76 million dots of resolution, and the resulting image is crisp and clear even in fairly bright conditions. For critical viewing, of course, the OLED EVF provides a 1.76 million dot resolution image with stunning clarity, and as I've been saying for years now, these OLED EVFs are fantastic. As for inputs and outputs, you've got 2 XLR inputs for Pro audio, wired remote, USB-C 3.1 of course, 3G SDI, timecode input, Ethernet, and of course, HDMI 2.0. On the X20, you lose the SDI, timecode, and Ethernet connections. Both cameras record to dual SD-XC card slots, and while the X20 does have things like relay and continuous recording, it lacks the proxy recording feature of the X2. Physically, the X2 and X20 are very similar, but the added features of the X2 do make it just ever so slightly larger. The X2 is 173 by 195 by 390 millimeters, while the X2 is 169 by 195 by 388.4 millimeters. The weights are also very similar, with the X2 coming in at 2.47 kilograms and the X20 at 2.41, both including hood and batteries. So, if you find yourself wondering what the state of camcorders is right now, I highly recommend looking into the HC-X2 and X20. The 1-inch sensor lends a slightly more cinematic look to the form factor, but it maintains that compact all-in-one nature of a camcorder, which makes it ideal for professional ENG and documentary users. The picture quality is excellent here, and the streaming features make it a clear choice for anyone looking to stream directly from a professional camera body. So that's it for the Panasonic HC-X2 and HC-X20. Let us know how you might use these cameras in the comments below. This is Doug with B&H, and I'll see you next time.